Hey folks, it's Matt once again, and welcome back to another random video. This is pretty much based on, I found an article on a website called Den of Deek, and this was updated, I want to say, sometime in March. And it says the 120 movie remakes and reboots currently in the works. And of course, people can say whatever they want about it, but the fact that there's over 100 wanting to be made shows that it is a problem. People can like it however they want, but to me, it is a problem. There are remakes that I've liked, even of recent years. If I don't include classics like John Carpenter's The Thing, The Blob from 1988, The Fly, with David Cronenberg. On the flip side, I enjoyed the Dawn of the Dead remake, Maniac remake, House of Wax remake. For every one of those, even some action films, Brick Mansions, if you think about it, that's a remake of a film from overseas. I liked that film. The Departed, I liked The Departed. That's a remake. But more times than not, man, you got the Hitcher remake, the Elm Street remake, the Fog remake, let alone reboots. I did not care for Jurassic World reboot, and you know how I feel about Super Chuds, the movie by Michael Fay producing. Four steroid up abusing super chud looking Shrek fucking motherfuckers. Again, you already know that. Ghostbusters, ghost fuckers, however you want to call that. When it's bad, it's really bad. So the big ones, Escape from New York has been announced. Apparently John Carpenter gave the thumbs up to Robert Rodriguez, or as I call him, Robbie Rod. Robbie Rod hasn't made a good film to me, in my opinion, just my opinion, since Planet Terror. And I liked Planet Terror. I love the Grindhouse experience. I saw that in the theater, had a great time. I like Once Upon a Time in Mexico. I like Desperado. My favorite of his is From Dusk Till Dawn. El Mariachi, I barely remember. I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing, I just barely remember it. His kids' films all suck. Spy Kids films, Shark Boy, Lava Girl, Shorts. He produced Predators, which I fucking hated. Machete, and Machete Kills himself. Oh, Sin City I like. But Sin City 2 I thought was a piece of shit. So that's the thing. I hated Machete. Machete Kills himself. Sin City 2. Producing and writing Predators. I don't know why we need an Escape from New York remake. I don't know why. I mean, it's an easy one. I can see why they want it to happen because it's a big idea that they could put a big budget on, and Robert Rodriguez directing it. Yeah, there's always the chance a movie can surprise me, but the last couple of years have been painful for remakes. The Day of the Dead remake. I'm sure before that was made, people were like, hey, give the Day of the Dead remake a chance. And then you get a vegetarian fucking zombie. Hey, give the Hitcher remake a chance. And then you have Shaun the Beanie Baby driving with 9 Inch Nails playing, saying, I want to fuck you like an animal. Give the remake to Number on Elm Street a chance. And then you get, what are you screaming for? I haven't touched you yet. Mm-hmm. Taters. Fucking Billy Bob Cougar. April Fool's Day remake. Do you remember that? The one that looks like a fucking soap opera, like As the World Turns? When they're bad, they're really, 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 really bad. Even the reboots, Ghostbusters. Hey, we got a pussy fart. Thank God, now we have a Ghostbusters movie that has a queef joke. That's what the world needed. So, I mean, Stephen York, again, Robert Rodriguez's track record and the track record of a lot of remakes and reboots recently. Oh, how could I forget the Thane prequel, pre-made, pre-cum. But Stephen York, how many times do you have to say you cannot remake John Carpenter? You can't. Assault in Precinct 13 is the least offender, but I'm still not a fan of Assault in Precinct 13. It's the least of the bad John Carpenter remakes, but it's nothing compared to the original. It has some good cinematography, and it is the least offensive, but I can't really say, oh, it's a good movie. I don't. I'm sorry. It's like, maybe time waster at best. Rob Zombie's Halloween was a whole bag of assholes. The Fog remake. I know there's others. I'm forgetting them now already. You cannot compare with John Carpenter's movies. You can't. Sorry. Just a Stephen New York is not needed. The Fly, that's getting another remake. Little Shop of Horrors is getting another remake. Go Stephen King's It, I've already mentioned that. I did a video doing the trailer where a little fucking kid smacks himself in the face by hitting a sign as if it's the Three Stooges. Stealing the scene from fucking Sinister. The fucking clown at the end going, oh, boodle, 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 right to the fucking camera. Every fucking kid talking as if he's bored out of his fucking mind. And I'm like, why should I care? Don't get it. Don't get it. But let me go down the list. I'm going to try to go fast just so that's not an hour-long video, because no one's going to have time to watch that long of a video. They're still talking about Ace Ventura. Yes, there's talks of an Ace Ventura reboot. It's very early days. There was talk without the involvement of Jim Carrey, because that helped with Ace Ventura Jr. All three of you who remember that piece of shit. But Morgan Creed Productions are definitely looking into it. They're currently trying to sell a lot of the properties, but have held on to the remake rights for Ace Ventura, which they're working on relaunching according to Deadline. Yeah, because it's a name people remember, and if there's a guy who comes out who's a fresh-faced comedian, they're probably going to try to get him to do it. Akira, one of Hollywood's most on and off projects. The current state of the live-action Akira remake is that it's back in the works. Real quick about Ace Ventura, the reason why that remake would not work is because Jim Carrey is what made that character work. I mean, it's a pet detective. It's a silly, stupid idea of a film that you would think would belong in a Saturday Night Live sketch, and that's it. But Jim Carrey's manic energy and his delivery when he was in his prime, his insanity of his energy and his rubber face made that character work. If you gave that same character to Kevin James, it would be awful. If you gave that same character to Zach Galifianakis, it'd be puke-inducing. It worked because Jim Carrey was there at the right time, at the right frame of mind, no guts, no glory, go for broke performance, and he made those films work. There's other parts of those films I enjoy as well. I enjoy both these Ventura films, but he's the big reason for it. So when you remake it, it's like you don't have the guy who made it Ace Ventura. Get into Akira. Marco J. Ramirez, the showrunner for season 2 of Netflix's Daredevil, has been hired to pen a screenplay. Warner Brothers is still back in the film, which was previously abandoned over budget issues. At one point, Giancarlo Serra of Nonstop was going to direct, but he moved on. We're told that Christopher Nolan has had talks about the project. Please no, we do not need a realistic version of Akira where nothing happens. I don't need to see the fucking characters walk around and talk for 90 minutes and then, oh, here's a motorcycle. Christopher Nolan is wrong for that project. No. How did the guys who did? There's a thing on YouTube, like an Akira short film or fan trailer. I don't know what it was called. That looked beautiful, and they did that like for free on their own time. It looks great. I mean, I enjoy Akira. I think I reviewed it. It's still on my channel. At least I hope it's still on my channel. And I don't know if you need a live action film. I really don't. If Ghost in the Shell is a huge enough hit, I would not be surprised if this gets the big green light thrust forward to try to get this made. If Ghost in the Shell is humongously successful, would not be surprised. But Christopher Nolan, he's the worst guy to have for that. I'm sorry. Aladdin. Guy Ritchie will direct a live-action remake of the Disney classic Aladdin. Guy Ritchie? Guy Ritchie? That's part of the whole Disney thing with the live-action remakes, like Jungle Book. Even though 90% of that movie is a CGI film, but yet it's live-action. Beauty and the Beast. They're doing The Lion King, which there are no human characters in that film. So it's gonna be 100% CGI, but yet it's live action. So I'm like, isn't that kind of a lie? Isn't that kind of a bullshit theory? False, full of shit syndrome. It's not technically live action, but I mean, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast has made a shitload of money. So yeah, they're gonna go forward with this, but because they're doing The Lion King, it's just one of those things. They're remaking all these Disney films for live action. I just have no interest in that kind of stuff. I really don't. Unless they do like Robin Hood, the one with the fox, but have it voiced by like Jason Statham. Maybe I'd go see that movie. I don't know if you remember that. That'd be that'd be pretty funny. Or some of that caliber as the Fox Robin Hood or something. But anyway, and why Guy Ritchie? Like, why would you think of him for an Aladdin live action remake? Can anyone answer me that? I think he did Sherlock Holmes. Is that correct? I like Sherlock Holmes. I barely remember the second one. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Alien Nation. The remake has attracted the interest of Iron Man writers Art Markham and Matt Holloway. They're working on the draft of a screenplay, and the Fox apparently has Midnight Special and Mud director Jeff Nichols lined up to direct. Yeah, there were a lot of TV movies made off of Alien Nation back in the day. I liked Alien Nation with James Caan. I know James Caan himself hates the film. There was one written interview, where someone brought it up. He's like, "What the fuck are you talking about that for?" Well, some people happen to like it, the interviewer said. He's like, okay. So, yeah. You would never get him to be interviewed about, I don't get what his butt up his ass about. I think Alien Nation is a really solid flick. I think it's a good cop film. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's done and they really go for the racist angle, racism. Hell, look at Get Out. That played with race relations. That made a shitload of money. I like Get Out. I reviewed it last week. Alienation, I'm just saying, well, why don't you just make your own story with that kind of concept? You don't need the Alienation name, but they'll do it anyway. Aren't they kind of doing that with what's that one with Will Smith called? It was like Blight. It's like Will Smith and some warlock or orc. I think it's like an orc, and it takes place modern day. Isn't that pretty much Alienation? But instead of aliens, it deals with like mythological creatures, but it's in today's age. I mean, I forget who the hell was directing it. Was it David Ayer or? I mean, Blight. Isn't that fucking Alienation pretty much? I'm fine with that. It's like a Netflix movie that's coming out later this year. I only saw they only had like a 20-second, 30-second preview, but I'm like, okay. I like Will Smith. I don't mind it. You know, like to see more than 30 seconds. An American Wolf in London, Matt Landis is penning a remake of his father's film. It's produced by David Albert and Robert Kirkman of The Walking Dead through their Skybound Entertainment Company. So Matt Landis is writing. He's the guy who wrote Chronicle and I think wrote and directed American Ultra, which I haven't seen that one, but I like Chronicle. American Wolf in London, did nobody learn from American Wolf in Paris? Did nobody learn from that movie? Like, seriously, did no one learn from that fucking movie? I, I don't. They say the Batman, but I mean, they say remakes and reboots. So I guess technically the Batman would be a reboot of, nothing to do with the Nolan films or Tim Burton films or so forth. That movie, The Batman, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen with that because this whole thing of Ben Affleck, either he's going to leave after Justice League or he'll never get to a Batman movie. But then part of me is thinking, well, don't they have a contract with him to make him do a Batman movie? But he's not going to direct it anymore because Warner Brothers are fucking with him and fucking with the script and fucking with this. And now I forgot who the hell's directing it. I think it's the guy who did, what, Matt Reeves? I don't know what the hell's going on with that, really. You really don't. I already gave my thoughts on Justice League. That's not a remake or reboot, but just still. I know a lot of people got pissed at me, but I still think that Justice League looks like dog shit. Looks like a fucking video game. And then even someone in the comments left me, they typed and said, Zack Snyder in an interview said it's supposed to look like a video game. And apparently Zack Snyder fucking said that because he's a fucking idiot, Zack Snyder. I like the Dawn of the Dead remake. I like Watchmen. And then another person reminded me, because I completely forgot about this film, he did a CGI owl movie, Legends of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole. I actually think that's a really underrated one. I think that's a really good one. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, Sucker Punch, Man of Steel Boner, Butt Man versus Shooter Man, Dawn of Butt Sex, fucking Justice League, Suicide League, fucking Just Fucks League. That looks like shit. It looks like a fucking green screen from hell. Fucking Aquaman, fuck a man. Well, yeah, yeah. Fuck you, shave your beard, put your head up your ass, Jason Mamma Mia. Beauty and the Beast, of course, that came out, made a shitload of money. I had zero interest. I still have zero interest. Trailers did jack shit for me. I like the animated film. I haven't seen that in forever. Like when I had it on VHS when I was a kid. I haven't seen it since. Maybe one day I'll pick it up and give the animated film another watch. But I remember liking the I was gonna say cartoon, but animated film. Big Trouble in Little China, of course, a long time ago talked about this, where Dwayne the Rock Johnson wants to star in the film, pinned by Ashley Miller and Zach Stentz. It's in the writing phase. This one is, who knows when they'll shoot. This article says Kurt Russell was given his blessing and wished the project good luck. I don't know because he was being nice, because he's working with The Rock in the Fast and Furious movies. I don't know. But yeah, Big Trouble in Little China, that's going to happen because it's an adventure movie. Because the thing is, they want either. Usually, studios want a movie that costs $100 million because they can't think of anything lower, unless they do the total opposite and do like a Paranormal Activity movie or one of those cheap little films. But if it's going to be a film like this, it's going to be a summer film. Dwayne The Rock Johnson is very popular. He's in almost every other fucking movie. He's in Baywatch, Jumanji. I think he's doing like a skyscraper movie in China that's like Die Hard in China or something. I forget the details of it. I'm like, wow, that's like the one fucking remake he's not doing. He wants to do San Andreas. He's all over the place, so I'm sure one day we'll see. But again, you're not going to capture the magic. You're not going to capture the humor. You're not going to capture. It's going to be less intriguing, less imaginative, and more cliche and typical. Big Trouble in Little China is a very unique film where the lead guy was really the side character, the sidekick. And the quote sidekick, Dennis Dunn, I believe his name is, he was the lead character. I mean, if you really think about it, and that's what that and all the other stuff. That's, I mean, it's originally from the writer of Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. I mean, it's unique and it's funny, it's entertaining, and it'll just be a CGI fest. People flying in the air on wires or something. I don't know. I'm like, you kind of played that character in fucking Race to Witch Mountain, and I don't even mind Race to Witch Mountain because I really didn't care for the original. So when I saw Race to Witch Mountain, I'm like, wow, there's actually some practical effects. And The Rock, he was playing a cab driver who was a normal guy. Like Kurt Russell was a truck driver who's a normal guy. And I'm like, Rock, you already played this character in fucking Race to Witch Mountain. Was the film not a big enough hit, so you want a second try? But I mean, Race to Witch Mountain, you already did that movie. And yeah, I liked Race to Witch Mountain, but The Birds, this has been going on for years. Still talks that Michael Bay's Platinum Dunes. Apparently set to be directed by Dieter van Ruijten, who will be making his English language feature debut with the production. I don't see that movie ever being made because they're nowadays people are like birds. Who fuck cares about birds? Alfred Hitchcock, The Birds, I enjoyed. I reviewed that. I enjoy that film. Nowadays, it'd just be a bunch of shitty CGI birds. No one. Oh, but Birdemic? No, it's the birds. Oh, bullshit? No, it's the birds. No one wants to see 100 CGI birds. The Black Hole. There was talks of Tron Legacy and Oblivion director Joseph Kosinski developing a remake. He took a backseat to it because he was going to try to make Tron 3, but Disney pulled the plug on Tron 3, so the black hole is just sitting in a fucking black hole now. But I wouldn't be surprised one that again. I wouldn't be surprised that comes up one day because you look at the success of films, Gravity, Interstellar. That maybe they go, oh well, here could be our Gravity, our Interstellar, that kind of thing. Blade. According to Wesley Snipes, Marvel Studios have had a few talks about rebooting Blade within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Since the conversations have been good, according to Snipes, but we've heard little else. I think if they do, Wesley Snipes would not be in it. I think they would just hire someone else. They would hire a younger person who can work for them for the next 10 years. I really do feel that way. I mean, if you may, I mean, that'd be cool. But I don't see that happening. I just don't see that happening. I mean, I can see it being rebooted, but just Wesley Snipes, they're not going to cast him. It's like with that new Deadpool. They're not going to consider Dolph Lundgren as Cable. They're considering all these other people. I'm like, why not Dolph Lundgren? But they don't give a shit about Dolph Lundgren. The Blob. I know last time Simon West promising to harness the power potential of modern CG and his take on the Blob. I don't know if Simon West will ever do that. We don't need another Blob movie, for fuck's sake. It's like when Rob Zombie was going to do the Blob. We don't need another Blob. Re-release the 1988 film so I can see in the fucking theater. Bloodsport. I know this was in the works. Robert Mark Kamen, who co-wrote Taken 2. Philip Noyce had a one-stage sign on to direct. Plans for a film that's more character-driven than the original. but progress has been very slow. Well, I mean, I know they did Kickboxer, which I did not see because I fucking didn't want to, and they're doing another one to that. Bloodsport, it's a name people remember. It's a name people recognize nostalgia-wise. I wouldn't be surprised one day that comes to fruition more. Blue Thunder. The new film will change Blue Thunder from a helicopter into a drone, and Craig Kyle is writing the script. He's also writing Thor Ragnarok. And the producer of 50 Shades of Grey is producing. Great. I could see a CGI drone and a movie produced by the woman who produced 50 Shades of Grey. So will people be fucking in the drone, or will the drone be trying to fuck someone? Will the drone be trying to undress a woman and do some BDSM on her? Car wash, because the studio Universal is searching for a writer at the moment. But yeah, there is talks of rebooting Car Wash. Again, just because. Charlie's Angels. Sony is currently searching for a writer to bring the trio Charlie's Angels back to the big screen. Elizabeth Banks, after her success directing Pitch Perfect 2, is said to be circling this one. Honestly, Charlie's Angels, I don't care either way whether that gets rebooted. I really don't, one way or another. I saw the two Charlie's Angels films. I thought they were there. You know, I could watch them as a time waster, brain dead time waster. I'm like, three women who I think are hot and they're doing things, and Bill Murray's in one, and Bernie Mac is in another, and explosions, and oh, there's Debbie Moore in one of them, and I didn't watch them as brain dead time wasters. I'm not, Chronicles of Narnia, just the Silverchair, which will reboot the franchise with a whole new cast. Yeah, now that I think about it, did they not finish that Chronicles of Narnia one? Like, they did a couple, but they didn't finish it? Sony Entertainment One are now backing, taking over from 20th Century Fox. Mark Gordon is producing, along with Douglas Grisham, Vincent Sieber, and Melvin Adams. David McGee will pen the script for The Silverchair, which will reboot the franchise with a whole new cast. Probably hoping to get that money from The Hobbit, but I don't think really anyone is that gung-ho about Chronicles of Narnia. Obviously not if the other films didn't do well enough that they couldn't finish it. Cliffhanger. Back in 2009, came talk of a reboot from producer Neil Moritz, who oversaw the Total Recall remake. Last year, Joe Gasm was hired to pen a screenplay for a Cliffhanger remake reboot. Nothing's been heard since. We don't need a remake reboot of Cliffhanger. Okay, I don't need to see another fucking Vertical Limit or Extreme Ops. Anyone remember that fucking movie, Extreme Ops, with Devon Sawa? No, I don't blame you. If you do, I'm sorry, because I remember that too. That was a piece of shit. I know at one time, I think Fred Decker was going to write it, and then he left. Clue, because why not? I'm sure if Jumanji is a big hit, they're going to try for films like Clue. Universal departed the project in 2011, but Hasbro has landed on its feet. 20th Century Fox is now attached instead. We've been told that the new film expands the narrative to a global stage, so we may well see a few settings that are in libraries or billiard rooms. How the fuck can you take Clue on a global stage? It's Clue. The whole point of Clue is you're in one mansion, one house, and it's a mystery to find who killed who. So what is this, the fucking Da Vinci Code or something? Like, what? How is that a global stage? He killed that bitch with a crucifix. There's no crucifixes, but who knows? With a candlestick in China. And then that motherfucker, he killed him with a hammer in Nebraska. What the fuck does that mean, a global stage? The Craft. The director of Honeymoon, my friend Mike OCP's favorite film. Honeymoon, director Lee Janiak, writing and directing the new film. You know, go to my friend Mike OCP and ask him how much he loves Honeymoon. He loves that movie. But he's remaking The Craft. Guy named Phil is co-writing the script. I didn't mind The Craft, the original. It's a remake. I'm like, didn't they do that with The Covenant? Except it was all guys instead of girls. I mean, the Covenant sucked. Sorry, Rennie Harlan. I'm a fan of yours, but Covenant was horrible. Creature from the Black Lagoon. That's one I would have been very curious about. Why didn't you let John Carpenter do it back in the day? The Crow, they keep bringing up The Crow every other 4 months, it seems. Every 5 months. There's always something with The Crow. It was going to be Bradley Cooper going to star. It was going to be another guy. And, Jason Momoa is going to star. It just, yeah, it just, maybe there's a reason why it keeps getting delayed and delayed and delayed. Maybe you should just let it go. You don't need another Crow. Tube. A new version is on the way. It's going to be called Tubed with a D. Saman Catch is directing. Tubed. Death Wish. Bruce Willis starring and Eli Roth directing. I hope Bruce Willis punches Eli Roth in the face. I'm not a fan of Eli Roth. I have nothing against the guy personally, but I'm not a fan of his movies. And I have nothing against him personally, but it seems like in interviews he's really annoying. It's like, hey guys, my name's Eli Roth. I really love this, bro. Come on, broski. Or it seems like one of those frat guys that you just want to fucking push very, very hard through a fucking wall. I don't know, maybe he's a good guy. I don't know. But he made some really shitty movies. I think the worst one I've seen is Hostel Part 2. Fuck. Knock Knock with Keanu Reeves can kiss my ass. I mean, in this, Bruce Willis, Eli Roth, fuck. Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. They want Rebel Wilson to star. Don't Look Now. Apparently, Donald Sutherland is not impressed at all with the news. He calls the reboot plans shameful. Dumbo, directed by Tim Burton. Speaking of live action remakes, Tim Burton's Dumbo is fucking. I think at one time Will Smith was going to be part of it, but I don't think he's part of it anymore. Tim Burton's Dumbo. Is Bonham Carter, Helena Bonham Carter, is she going to be Dumbo herself? I mean, is she going to be, like, who's she going to be? Show me the Dungeons and Dragons. The Entity. James Wan is curious, at least to produce it. Every Which Way But Loose. James Fargo, director of the original film, is producing this. And there's talks of the director being Anthony G. Cohen, who previously helmed The Sex Trip. Because the director of The Sex Trip should direct a remake of Every Which Way But Loose. Explorers. You know, Explorers is one of those films that I love the first half, but I hate the finale. But the thing is, some of the writers are Josh Applebaum and Andrew Nemec, who wrote Super Chuds, the 2014 Ninja Turtles movie, Super Chuds. Applebaum and Nemeth. So Mr. Appleby and Nemeth the Nemeth have thrown a remake explorers write themselves off a fucking. Sorry, my brain cells just farted. Fantastic Voyage. Cool, sure, why not? Fantastic Voyage. At least that's a film from the '60s, and with today's age, that I'm fine with. Go for it. Five Fingers of Death. Brett Ratner wants to do it. I still need to see Five Fingers of Death. I've heard a lot of good things about it. But Brett Ratner, really? Really? Flash Gordon. I guess at one time they wanted Matthew Vaughn to direct it, but he hasn't said anything about it. John Davis producing, along with George Nolfi. Sam Jones is his first interest in reappearing. They're not gonna let you reappear Sam Jones. They'll reboot it. A new Flash Gordon, maybe. I mean, I like the original Flash Gordon, but I don't love it. It's not something I hold dear to me. So a new Flash Gordon, I'd be curious. If found a I'd be curious about it. Flatliners, which comes out this year, it's a sequel. It's a reboot. No, really, it's a sequel. And this is sequel. It's a requel, like The Force Awakens and Jurassic World. It's the director of the original version of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Kiefer Sutherland is in it, I guess, as his character. Probably be in it for 5 minutes. Didn't they do this one called The Lazarus Project recently, a few years ago? Fly the Navigator. I don't know about that. The Fly. Some guy who did this small film called Slight. They're trying to get him to do it. I don't even know what the fuck Slight is. Deadline reports that J.D. Dillard, who's going to direct and co-write the remake, and he did a film called Slight. Leave The Fly alone. Leave it alone, man. You don't need another Fly movie. Leave it the fuck alone. Jesus. Friday the 13th. It's not that fucking hard. Make a sequel. Take your place in the snow. Have Derek Mears. Has some fun, interesting kills. Some characters with some charisma or some fun to them. You could make it for $5 million. You can make triple that in your opening weekend. At least. It's not that fucking difficult. You're making it more difficult than it should be. I mean, if it was back in the 80s, we would have had already 3 fucking sequels to that, or 4 sequels to that. Well, technically, that came out like a sequel every year, so it would be more than that. But I mean, for fuck's sake, it's not that tough. Friday the 13th is not fucking Citizen Kane. It's better than Citizen Kane. But I mean, seriously, I'll be honest, I've never seen Citizen Kane. I don't give a fuck. I rather watch Friday the 13th. Just how I am. It's one of those things where it's not that fucking rocket science shit, man. It's a guy with a hockey mask killing people. When you make it more complicated, people hate it. But they never learn. The Fugitive. For some reason they want to reboot The Fugitive. I don't know why. Well, I mean, I should know why. Ghost in the Shell, live action remake of that. I wasn't even a big fan of the anime, so I really have no interest in the movie. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I remember when David Fincher did that, and there was supposed to be a sequel, and that never happened. So I don't know what the hell they're going to do with that. Are they going to do Girl with the Dragon Tattoo again? Are they going to do the sequel, but with different people? I never saw them, so can't say much about it. The Green Hornet. Yeah, you're not going to get far with that after what happened with Seth Rogen's. Apparently, Gavin O'Connor of the Ben Affleck Foot the Accountant will direct a grittier version from a script guy who wrote Video Games Lair and Pursuit Force. I don't know if you need a gritty version of the Green Hornet. Green Lantern. DC wants to do Green Lantern Corps, which of course will have nothing to do with the Ryan Reynolds film. As of right now, they want to release it in 2020. The Grudge. Sam Raimi's to produce a new take on The Grudge with another English language version on the way. Midnight Meat Train's Jeff Buhler has worked on the script, and this will be the first English The Grudge movie since 2009's The Grudge 3. That's probably not going to happen because remember Reigns? Exactly. No one remembers that movie. Hellraiser, they've been talking about that forever. Highlander, I know the guy who directed John Wick Chapter 2. I think he's curious about a Highlander reboot, and I don't think anyone needs another Highlander. There was already fucking a TV series and 5 movies. Highlander is one of those things that did not, in my opinion, did not need a franchise. I like the first one. I can have fun with the second one for shits and giggles. I have fun with it. The third one maybe is a time waster. Fourth and fifth, no. Uh, the Howling. I thought they did that with that fucking last Howling film I reviewed. Howling Reborn. Didn't they already do that? So I guess they want to do it again. I know we did last summer. Oculus director Mike Flanagan is working on a remake of I Know What You Did Last Summer. Yeah. That's one of those things that once people see the title, they're going to groan. Because I didn't watch I Know What You Did Last Summer as a time waster, but no one likes that film. And to the point of, if they saw the title, they would groan and say, fuck you, and not watch it. It's not one of those titles that people are yapping for joy for or nostalgic for. It's really not. I can watch the first one, but sequels suck. Inspector Gadget, eh. Says here there's a recent well-received CG animated series. I didn't know that of Inspector Gadget, really? The producer of the Lego movie has a take on it. I'd be open Inspector Gadget, sure. Why not? The Invisible Man, I know Johnny Depp is very intrigued on that, but Johnny Depp's track record has been pretty bad. What was that fucking movie? Transcendence, Lone Ranger, Alice in Wonderland, Dark Shadows. I can't remember the last fucking Johnny Depp film I liked. I like Ed Wood. I love Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Yeah, Ed Wood is great. What's Eating Gilbert Grape I like. I like the first Pirates of the Caribbean film. I know there's more. Gotta be. Nick of Time, I don't mind. Oh, Secret Window sucked. Yeah, The Invisible Man. Stephen King's It. Of course, I talked about this before. Jacob's Ladder. The guy who directed The Perfect Guy, and they want to make it into an action thriller conspiracy movie. That's one of those remakes that if it ever gets released, I will rage. If I ever see it, I will fucking rage. I will. Jacob's Ladder to me is one of the most underrated horror films of all time. I have a poster right there that was given to me by a really good guy a long, long, long time ago. I'm looking at it right now. To me, again, that is one of the best, most underrated horror films of all time. And you give it to the guy who directed The Perfect Guy. Jacob's Ladder, for those who don't know that film, was the big inspiration for the Silent Hill video games. If I rage out, I'll lose my voice. Jumanji, apparently, instead of a board game, it's a video game. You know, instead of kids looking at a board game, it's kids looking at a video game, and then they get sucked into the video game, and one kid is becomes The Rock, one kid becomes Jack Black, one kid becomes a girl, and then was it a girl becomes Kevin Hart or something like that. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is this? Really? Kickboxer, I didn't bother seeing. Just fuck it. Of course, they want to reboot Conan, but concerning Terminator Genesis, I don't know who's going to be gung-ho for that. The Lion King, I mean, mentioned. They also want to do The Little Mermaid. Little Shop of Horrors. The executive producer of 4 CW superhero shows, as well as Riverdale. Is that fucking show on Archie? Is there a TV show on Archie? Is Riverdale, that's all I remember. And Blind Spot on NBC. Greg Berlanti. And there's a script by Matthew Robinson, who did The Invention of Lying. Sarah Schechter, who worked on Supergirl, serving as executive producer. We don't need another Little Shop of Horrors. That film in the 80s works perfectly fine. Excellent special effects, great cast, very catchy songs. I reviewed it when I did my John Candy marathon. I really enjoy Little Shop of Horrors. I'm sure if they remade it, they would have the darker, downbeat ending, which would piss me off. You don't need Little Shop of Horrors. It'd be a CGI Audrey 2. You have stuff like Little Women, Logan's Run, Major League, because Morgan Creek Productions, who own Ace Ventura, they also own Major League, and I'm sure they're desperate to try to get their company back on the map. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, which is a John Wayne film, to be reimagined as an urban crime thriller in the vein of The Departed, The Town, and Mystic River. Then Masters of the Universe. Christopher Yost, best known for Thor the Dark World and currently co-writing Thor Ragnarok, has been hired for the project. Yeah, Masters of the Universe is a matter of time because you had a Super Chuz movie, and a Ghostbusters movie, and G.I. Joe movies. A He-Man movie is just a matter of time. It is. The Matrix, which I know people will say, well, it's not really a reboot. It's like a movie that takes place within the universe. So, like, during all that stuff happens, here's a side story that happened before or after, and I'm like, whatever. Fucking whatever, man. You mean like the Thane prequel, which fucking sucked? You mean like that one? Memento, which I thought Memento was interesting. I wasn't really satisfied with the ending of the film, but it was an interesting concept, and I like Guy Pearce. Ambi Pictures are bankrolling the remake. They bought the rights to Cruel Intentions, I Heart Huckabees, The Passion of the Christ, Rush, Robot and Frank, and Donnie Darko. I don't know, because they think of doing remakes to those or what? Oh, the Men in Black one, where there was talks of Men in Black and 21 Jump Street merging together. I didn't think that would ever happen. I think it was like some gag someone put up there. Mortal Kombat. Apparently, James Wan is going to produce the new movie. I don't know, man. I know there were people were busy with that online series. I don't know if it's still going on or what happened to it, but um, I feel if they did Mortal Kombat, they would fuck it up. But I don't really think they'd be gun ho for a video game movie since what was that movie? Assassin's Creed flopped, and Disney's Mulan. Speaking of, I was talking about live action Disney movies. Yeah, again, they're going to remake every one of them. And apparently, two Mulans: Disney's Mulan, and then Sony's Mulan. I had to lay my head down because I was getting a headache. The Mummy with Tom Cruise, I don't know. It looks like the bad guy's the bitch from Suicide Squad, the Enchantress. I like Tom Cruise. Hope it surprises me. Murder on the Orient Express, The Naked Gun. This is going to be an hour no matter how the fuck I word it, so it's full of shit. The Naked Gun. They want to get Ed Helms as Frank Drebin. Please, no. The last reboot I saw him in was Vacation. That's another reboot sequel that fucking sucked ass. I don't. If you like the film, more power to you. I don't understand why anyone likes the film though. I don't get it. They go into a pile of shit and in a pond of shit. They're in their bathroom. Look at this hair, and there's like a shitload of pubic hair. The father is trying to explain to an older teen what a rim job is. Those are the jokes in Vacation, the reboot. Nightmare on Elm Street, they're trying to reboot that movie again because yeah, the last time worked so fucking well because they never fucking learn. Nosferatu, Studio 8 hired Dave Eggers to write and direct it. He's the guy who did that movie, The Witch. I know there's that new Oceans film, but it's all a female cast, like Sandra Bullock. That's fine. Anne Hathaway, Rihanna, Helena Bonham Carter, Kate Blanchett. That's fine. Ocean's 11. I don't mind Ocean's 11, but it's not like, oh my god, they're touching. I don't care. Sure, go for it. Pet Cemetery. Once again, the writer of Midnight Meat Train, Jeff Booley's working on it. Juan Carlos Fresnadillo, who did 28 Weeks Later, may direct the film. I don't think. If that Stephen King's It movie's a hit, I'm sure this will go forward. Police Academy. Apparently, Key and Peele are the latest to take on the plan to remake, reboot of Police Academy. They said they're just producing the film. I don't know. Reboot Police Academy, really? Power Rangers that came out. I don't know if it's doing well or not. Predator, The Predator, Shane Black, Fred Decker, Black and Decker. I've heard rumors that I can't really say because I might get in trouble. Um, but it deals with that little kid that you see in pictures and what he might do. Like fly a fucking predator ship because he can understand the predator language because he's autistic. So he can understand the predator language so he can fly a fucking predator ship. Ooh. That's the rumor I heard. I'm like, I hope they're not that fucking stupid after the last shitty Predators film. The last two Predator film was Predator 2. Like I said in my commentary, it's one of the most underrated films of all time. Private Benjamin, because I guess someone's a big Goldie Hawn fan. I don't mind Goldie Hawn, but Rebel Wilson is circling the project. She's a female comedian. I think she was in the first Ghost Rider. Could be wrong. Pumpkinhead. Peter Block, one of Saw's executive producers, has picked up the rights and put a reboot in development. Pumpkinhead is a great movie. You don't need to redo it. Like they did with those shitty Pumpkinhead sequels on the Sci-Fi channel. Rambo, I remember ranting about that. Brooks McLaren has penned Rambo New Blood, a script for a recast reboot, and has been picked up for production. Ariel Vroman will direct. Like I said back in that video, I guessed it. I fucking called it. I said sooner or later, Rambo is next. I fucking called it. I called it. I called it. I called it. Red Sonja, I know for a while Rose McGowan and Robert Rodriguez was going to do it, but then that never happened. Now this guy named Christopher Cosmos is writing the script. Sure, they do a Red Sonja film. Sure, that's fine. That was a film that is flawed. And yeah, you do a reboot Red Sonja. See, that made sense. A reboot Red Sonja made sense. Rambo? No. Red Sonja? That makes fucking sense. It was one movie that even Arnold himself didn't want to be in. That made sense. But Roadhouse with Ronda Rousey, which I guess died down when she got her ass kicked and lost. Which, hey, I give credit to her. I would last much shorter than her. But, I mean, it depends how much she was back talking people. But I guess because she lost so much, they kind of, that's fading. You know, at one point Rob Cohen was going to direct it, but I guess he left. Roadhouse, just leave alone. Skyfall. Scarface with the fucking guy from Road One, the Inigo Montoya wannabe. Diego Luna, Luego, whatever the fuck his name is. If he's going to star in it, it's going to suck ass. I know Scarface is already a remake. That's why you don't need another remake. Remember when they remade Invasion of Body Snatchers again, called The Invasion with Nicole Kidman? No? Yeah, there's a reason you don't remember. And if you do, most people don't like that film. Me, I thought it was forgettable. Not the worst thing I've seen, but I like the 90s Body Snatchers. I don't mind the 70s one and the 50s one. Seven Samurai, Shaft, a second attempt. Because you remember when Samuel L. Jackson did that in 2000? That's a movie I need to watch again. I haven't seen that in forever. Kenya Barris and Alex Barno have been hired to write the new Shaft. She's all that because a Freddie Prinze Jr. movie like that needs a reboot for some fucking reason. Short Circuit, that's when they've been talking forever. Forever, forever, forever. They kind of did that with Chappie and it flopped, so I don't see that project going anywhere anytime soon. Thankfully. Wish I could find the films on fucking Blu-ray. Maybe you re-released both of them fucking films on Blu-ray so I don't have to pay an arm and a leg for it. Because I like to get those films on Blu-ray. How about you re-release them instead? Sister Act with Whoopi Goldberg. People who penned Legally Blonde and The House Bunny are working on a screenplay for the new movie. I actually liked Sister Act. My favorite Whoopi Goldberg is Jumpin' Jack Flash, but I liked the first Sister Act. Thought the sequel sucked, but I liked the first one. Of course, Spider-Man Homecoming. I did not see the new trailer. From what I heard, it seems like it gave away the entire movie. That's why I'm avoiding it, the trailer. Splash. There's talks of Channing Tatum and Jillian Bell, the star, and this time Channing Tatum, he's the merman, as opposed to when Dara Hannah was the mermaid. Brian Grazer confirmed the plans. Yeah, and that's another film I reviewed when I did the John Candy Marathon. I liked Splash. You don't need a new one. Stargate. The new Stargate reboot is aimed at the big screen. Nicholas Wright and James A. Woods have been working on the script. Apparently Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin are eyeing a return. The Pirate Heinrich is Independence Day 2 flopped. Shit, what else can we go back on? How about that? Starship Troopers, I remember hearing about that. Mark Swift and Damian Shannon? Aren't those the guys who did Freddy vs. Jason and the Friday the 13th reboot? I might think of someone else. They worked on the Baywatch movie? And they're going to try to write the remake of Starship Troopers. Strangers on a Train, another Alfred Hitchcock movie. Stuart Little. Suspiria. Luca Guadagnino has taken the reins of the film. And there's a 12-episode TV adaptation also being made? A 12-episode TV adaptation? With Dario Argento, I'll be honest, I have not, unfortunately, seen many of his films. I'd be very curious. I've seen Deep Red. I really enjoy that one. I've seen bits of Suspiria, and I like the bits that I saw. But I know he's made a lot of films like Opera and others. I would like to see more of his older ones. I think there was one I saw, and I can't remember what it was. I remember not caring for it, but I can't remember. But what I saw of Suspiria I liked. I might have seen the whole film, but I don't remember it specifically because my memory of it is hazy. But I do remember liking Deep Red. Yeah, but Suspiria, it's like sometimes you can't remake certain directors because you just can't. Sword in the Stone, a live-action remake of Sword in the Stone, which I'm like so it's Excalibur. If the Ten Commandments, all movies like that flop. Do these studios not understand that? Do they not get that? Exodus, Gods and Teens flopped. Ben-Hur flopped. So why the fuck would you do the Ten Commandments? Thomas Crown Affair, it was a Steve McQueen film, and then they remade it as a Pierce Brosnan film, and now they want Michael B. Jordan from Creed to be in it. Time Cop. From the writers of Journey to the Mysterious Island. gritty, more grounded with the sci-fi in the background. Tomb Raider, I know they're doing that because they show pictures of it. I actually like the first Tomb Raider film with Angelina Jolie. I like Lara Croft Tomb Raider. I think that's a fun popcorn action movie. The sequel is one of the few times I fell asleep in the theater, but I like the first one. But, you know, okay, they're rebooting Tomb Raider. Oh, well. Again, the only video game I played was Tomb Raider 2, like a decade ago. So I'm not passionate about, but okay, you know, I like the first movie, the reboot. Okay, you know, prove something to me. Toxic Avenger. Is Trauma even around? Someone can answer me that. Is Trauma even around? And if so, how are they staying afloat? How are they staying afloat? Valley Girl, the film with Nicolas Cage and Deborah Foreman? Pole dart star Josh Whitehouse has nabbed the lead this time around. Jessica Roth is his co-star. Amy Lee Talkington and Marty Noxon penned the script. Rachel Lee Goldenberg is directing it. Van Helsing. They want to reboot Van Helsing. War Games. Why? You don't need War Games reboot. You don't need a reboot of the Warriors. The fucking Warriors. You don't need it. Here's an idea. How about you take the Warriors and release the original fucking cut of it? Instead of that stupid version with the stupid comic book fucking pans. Or whatever the fuck you call it. The stupid comic book shit. How about you release the original version of the Warriors? How about you get that on a DVD Blu-ray for people to actually fucking see instead of having to fucking download it? I mean, you take all that money, you shove it up your ass, and if you don't want to shove it up your ass because it'll hurt, then take it and get the original fucking cut, the original version of the Warriors, so people can actually watch it. If you think it's inferior, let us make the decision because we're the fucking consumer. Damn it. Weird Science. They could not do Weird Science today because it's too fucking PC nowadays. No, I take that back. What comedies? I mean, look at Vacation and others. So I take that back. What comedies they tend to... Hell, there's a pussy fart joke in Ghostbusters, so I take that back. But I don't want to see a version of Weird Science like that either. I am surprised there's not a Weekend at Bernie's on here. Or a Mannequin. I am fucking shocked. Or a Ferris Bueller's Day Off on here. I'm shocked. Weird Science. The guy who wrote 21 Jump Street and the Project X, that's not the one from the 80s with Matthew Broderick. That was the newer one, which was it a found footage? I forget what the hell it was. Like a found footage comedy or something? I can't remember. I mean, I haven't seen it. I can't remember the trailer. But he was writing a script for Weird Science. White Men Can't Jump. I love that movie. Kenya Barr is the creator of Black-ish. The fuck is Black-ish? 20th Century Footface is back in the project. Of course, it's 20th Century Footface. The Wild Bunch. Well, The Magnificent Seven didn't even make that much money. And it's a project that Will Smith was contemplating. Yeah, right. The Wolfman. Guy who wrote Prisoners wants to write it. Oh, that's because they want to do that monster cinematic universe starting with The Mummy. It's supposed to be that Dracula Untold movie that was started, and that flopped. So they want to start with The Mummy, and then they want to do The Wolfman, The Invisible Man, and all this other shit. Zorro Reborn. A Zorro film set in the post-apocalyptic future. Let me repeat that. Zorro Reborn. Reborn. I know I'm tired. Reborn. That's the porno. Reborn. A post-apocalyptic version of Zorro. God damn it. God damn it. You got fucking Tom Cop. You got fucking Blob. You got fucking Rambo. You got fucking Stephen New York. Shitty reboots of Super Chuds. Fucking Ninja Turtles reboot sucked ass. Ghostbusters reboot sucked ass. The theme prequel sucked ass. Halloween remake sucked ass. Elm Street remake sucked ass. God damn it, man. Video's over a fucking hour. I don't know if anyone will ever watch the whole damn thing. I'm done. Done like dinner. Ah, fuck it. See you later. Take care. I have to lay down. I got a fucking headache.